This is the story of an island paradise. A paradise with a dark side.
As much of a beautiful place that it is, don't be fooled, don't be tricked.
A story of mysterious deaths and conspiracy theories.
The way that they treated us was disgraceful. I think that they just try and cover these things up.
The murders of 2 British backpackers.
It was a very scary time when we tried to piece together what had happened.
A police force under fire.
He alleges that he was sexually assaulted, abused, beaten, threatened.
Threats from the local mafia.
They can control people coming and going, they control money. They know when an outsider's coming in.
And trial by internet.
We are anonymous.
This is the inside story of Murder in Paradise. Koh Tao is a haven for young backpackers. An isolated island, 250 miles from the Thai capital Bangkok, only accessible by boat. More than 500,000 travelers come here every year, drawn to the beaches, nightlife, and hedonism. Jack Van Toorn lived in Thailand for 3 years and toured the islands.
It's magical when you first arrive. Everything is perfect, and because the contrast between like the way we're kind of policed in Europe and everything's controlled, when you arrive in Thailand, you feel like you can do what you like.
After 3 months traveling across Southeast Asia, Annabelle, Emma and Holly have just arrived.
We didn't do much research into Koh Tao, did we?
No.
We heard of other travellers, it's one of their favourite places.
Yeah, most people had said it was their favourite island in Thailand. So we've obviously, allocated a lot more time to this island.
Yeah, and we're going to book extra nights here than we first thought, because we love it so much.
Koh Tao might be fun, but the friends are mindful of a recent murder.
I didn't realise that it was actually on this island. I knew it was in Thailand, but I wasn't aware it was Koh Tao.
No, I didn't realise. I didn't realise we were actually going to the island that happened.
Yeah. And it was,
until we got here.
and then we were on the beach.
Us, didn't we?
Yeah, and we realised we're on the beach where it happened, which was a bit strange. But...
Yeah.
Just like the girls, Hannah Witheridge and David Miller arrive on Koh Tao looking for adventure. Hannah is 23 and on a break from a postgraduate degree. Her family tried to persuade her not to go to Thailand, but she suddenly books tickets and tells them she's leaving. She's in regular touch with her mum, who's concerned for her safety. David is about to start a scholarship with a mining company. He comes from Jersey and has a tight group of friends who travel with him around Thailand. They go to a full moon party where David is centre stage. Hannah and David meet by chance because they're staying in the same hotel. At around 7 p.m. on September 14th, 2014, they drink with friends in a bar on Sairi Beach. Just after midnight, the group goes in different directions. Hannah and 3 of her friends head to another beachfront bar, known as the AC Bar. CCTV captures David at a supermarket and chatting in the streets. At 2 a.m, he joins Hannah. At some point after 2:15, Hannah and David leave the bar and walk along the beach. They are just meters from the safety of their hotel. Not long after sunrise, local hotel owner Witheridge is dragged from his bed.
ลูกน้องพี่ที่ทำความสะอาดร้านอาหารอยู่ลูกน้องพี่ก็ตกใจวิ่งไปหาพี่บนห้องไปเคาะประตูเรียกพี่ก็ลงมากับพวกลูกน้องก็มาเจอศพที่นี่พี่เป็นคนไทยคนแรกที่มาเจอพร้อมกับลูกน้องชาวพม่า
Blood is mixed with sand. Hannah Witheridge's body lies on the shore. She has been brutally attacked and appears to have been raped.
เป็นภาพที่ไม่น่าดูเป็นภาพอย่างที่เรารู้กันนะดูแล้วไม่มีใครมีความสุขนะ
12 meters from Hannah, another body floats in the shallows. David Miller. He has severe head wounds. A garden hoe covered in blood is found nearby. News of the murders quickly spreads across the island.
I was asleep in bed and I got a knock at my door, and it was one of my best friends who's a dive instructor here on the island, and she came over with the news, which wasn't really the story as we know it today, and it's kind of a game of telephone. We didn't know exactly what had happened. We had heard these rumors, and it was a very scary time while we tried to piece together what had happened.
The police are now at the beach. Sergeant Cherd Gua is the first officer to arrive.
ไม่ครับคือจริงๆแล้วผมมาที่เกิดเหตุเนี่ยความรู้สึกของความเป็นคนนะก็ตกใจเหมือนกันแต่ด้วยความที่เราเป็นตำรวจคือมันค่อนข้างที่จะไม่ได้ถึงขั้นจะไปนั่งช็อกอะไรแต่ความรู้สึกก็คือมันหดหู่ครับมันหดหู่แล้วพอความหดหู่ของเราเนี่ยเหมือนเราเป็นคนไทยเนี่ยเรามีสถานที่ศักดิ์สิทธิ์มีคิงรามาไฟมีร.5แล้วมีของสมเด็จย่าก็เหมือนว่าอธิษฐานเลยว่าใครทำไว้เขาให้จับได้มันไม่มีทางรอดในความรู้สึกที่คิดครับผม
The Thai police open a murder investigation, but there are only 6 officers on the island, and they don't get off to a good start. They struggle to control the crime scene. Strangers are wandering across restricted areas. Bystanders are taking photos of the dead bodies and posting them on social media. The chaotic scenes don't go down well in Bangkok. The police's handling of the case threatens to embarrass Thailand. A senior officer is sent from the police headquarters to direct operations. He apologizes to David's family.
Some confidential material that leak out is really bad, especially the photos of the victims on the crime scene, and that traumatized the family, the victim's family. Once I have talked to David's father on the phone, I said sorry to him.
Despite the problems at the crime scene, the police focus on the forensic evidence. Tests are run on cigarette butts, the murder weapon, and David and Hannah's bodies. The results yield a crucial lead. Officers say they have found the DNA profiles of 2 Asian men. But the forensic evidence will become one of the most contentious parts of the case. The police will soon face allegations of serious misconduct, being influenced by the mafia and even torture. The Thai island of Koh Tao is one of Southeast Asia's most popular destinations for young travelers. Stunning beaches, clear seas, a stretch of beachfront bars. But this beautiful island is the backdrop to a brutal double murder. British backpackers Hannah Witheridge and David Miller are beaten to death after leaving a bar. Alexandra Bax has lived on Koh Tao for 6 years and writes a blog about the island.
I couldn't help but be very affected by that story. I was Hannah a few years ago when I came to Koh Tao, exploring this beautiful country for the first time. So my heart goes out to that family. I can't imagine what they've gone through.
The Thai police believe they have an early lead. They say they have found the DNA profiles of 2 Asian men from Hannah's body. Officers sweep the island, taking swabs from as many Asian men as possible. The atmosphere is tense. There are now more than 60 officers on the island. Normally, there are only 6. Rumors are circulating about powerful local families, dubbed by some residents the Koh Tao Mafia.
What they call the Thai Mafia aren't really mafia, they're more just families with a lot of control, who own the land, who own the people, and who own what comes on and off of islands. That's what makes the island mafia a little bit different from the mainland, because they can control people coming and going, they control money. They know when an outsider's coming in to kind of check up on what they're doing, maybe.
One family is consistently linked to the murders on social media, the two Wichians. They own more businesses on Sairi Beach than any other family. Montriwat Tuwichian is the first Thai to see Hannah and David's bodies. He then appears to play a major role in the police investigation. First, he is seen in a restricted area as the police gather forensic evidence.
ไม่พอพี่ไปจับต้องอะไรด้วยใช่ไหมไม่ก็ไม่เห็นจะผิดอะไรเพราะว่าเป็นระดับผู้กำกับเขาบินลงมาไอ้เขามากับเครื่องไอ้เขามากับโรงพยาบาลมาที่เกาะเต่าแล้วเขาก็ถามหาพี่เป็นคนแรกเขาถามหาคนที่เห็นศพเป็นคนแรกอ่ะก็คือพี่ก็ต้องเกี่ยวข้องอยู่ดีพี่ก็ต้องเข้าไปอธิบายเขาให้ท่านผู้กำกับเขารับรู้เท่านั้น
A week later, Montriwat confronts a potential witness. Sean McKenna is friends with David Miller. Montriwat and a police officer chase him into a supermarket to ask him about allegations he was seen covered in blood on the night of the murder. Sean posts to his Facebook page, "Thai Mafia are trying to kill me." Sean escapes and leaves the island, not before giving this interview to a British newspaper.
Then they just said to me, "It was you who killed them. You've got 2 people's deaths in your hands. We know it was you. You're gonna hang yourself tonight. You're gonna hang yourself tonight. We're gonna watch you hang. But you died tonight." So I just ran. I just left and ran.
You think they are connected to what happened to them?
I think they needed a scapegoat.
Montriwat disagrees. He says Sean ran away when he started asking questions.
แล้วเลือดมาจากไหนพี่ก็ถามเงี้ยต่อหน้าตำรวจ2 คนเนี่ยว่าเลือดอ่ะที่ติดตัวที่โลตัสบาร์เขาเช็คออกให้อ่ะเป็นเลือดของใครเป็นเลือดยังไงมายังไงชอนเขาก็ไม่ตอบเขาก็ออกจากบาร์แล้วเขาก็วิ่งไปแล้วก็ไปที่ซุปเปอร์มาร์เก็ตพวกพี่ก็ตามไปดูเราถามแค่นี้ทำไมมันต้องวิ่งคืออีกอย่างเราก็สงสัยอยู่แล้วแล้วก็ตำรวจก็มันออกอาการแบบแล้วมันทำไมต้องวิ่งอ่ะเราก็ถามแค่นี้อยากให้ชาวโลกได้รับรู้เลยว่าผมอ่ะ และตระกูลเป็นผู้บริสุทธิ์มันต้องเชื่อด้านวิทยาศาสตร์ไม่ใช่เชื่อกันเรื่องการจินตนาการและไสยศาสตร์อย่างนี้ใช้ไม่ได้คุณต้องเชื่อเรื่องวิทยาศาสตร์แล้วโลกปัจจุบันเนี่ยผมเชื่ออย่างนั้น
Sean McKenna denies any involvement. He says he had a cut on his body, but this occurred before the murders. He says he cooperated with the police and he believes the threat to kill him was genuine. The police are still trying to identify the DNA profiles of the two Asian men. They focus upon the Burmese migrant community. Burmese outnumber Thais on Koh Tao. They are the engine of the island, doing most of the jobs in hotels and bars. Many of them enter the country illegally. Andy Hall is a migrant rights campaigner. He says the Burmese are treated poorly by the Thais.
They're very much unrespected, unwelcome and unwanted. You know, so people take from them what they need in terms of their physical labour, their manual labour, but they don't give them the rights, and they're very high risk of exploitation, abuse, whether by brokers, by their employers, or also by corrupt officials.
13 days after the murder, Andy Hall gets reports the police are brutally targeting the Burmese.
We started to get calls from workers who said they were being tortured or abused as part of the investigation into the case. So we sent a team to the island to gather information, and we got a lot of information which we consider was reliable. And we got photos, we got documents to show that people were being abused.
This is the most serious injury. A man claims officers poured boiling hot water on him. The police deny all of the accusations. Just days after this alleged torture, a turning point in the investigation. Officers identify 3 Burmese migrants spotted on CCTV near the crime scene. Mong Mong, Zorlin, and Wei Pio. The men admit they were on Sairi Beach on the night of the murder. Mong Mong is released, but Zorlin and Wei Pio are arrested on immigration offences. Neither man has a lawyer. And at this stage, they are only witnesses in the murder investigation. But this police video, never broadcast before, shows Wei Pio apparently reconstructing the crimes. The police say both men had confessed by this point. Hours before this was filmed, Wei Pio claims he was tortured by the police.
His testicles were pinged, he was in a lot of pain. He was left naked in a room with lots of police officers. Photos were taken of him naked. He alleges that he was sexually assaulted, abused, beaten, threatened to have his electrocuted, to be burnt, to be, you know, thrown into the middle of the ocean or whatever.
At one point, the police translator strokes Wei Pio's head as he struggles to remember what happened. Zorlin also claims he was tortured. But the police are confident that they are the killers because of two crucial bits of evidence. First, they claim the Burmese are a perfect match to the DNA found at the crime scene and on Hannah's body.
We found inside the body, we found the cigarette. There's so many, that's enough for us.
Second, officers believe they can prove Wapio stole David's phone. They find this handset at an address linked to the Burmese. Wapio tells officers he found it on the beach. The Thai police contact the National Crime Agency in Britain. They provide the serial number showing it belonged to David. The arrests are a coup for the Thai police. In a show of confidence, they stage a public reconstruction on Syrie Beach. Yet there is growing unease on Koh Tao. The Thai police's track record is hardly unblemished, especially when investigating the deaths of Western tourists. 8 months before Hannah and David were murdered, Nick Pearson died on the island. The Pearsons were on a family holiday. After a night out on Syrie Beach, they returned to their hotel at around 2 a.m. Nick had had a drink and needed help getting to his room.
All of us went back together. We took Nick back to his room because me and my dad had to help him. He was limping. His knee was really infected from a fall that he'd had a few days before that.
My husband saw him to his room and watched him get in bed. He took his shoes off and his shorts and climbed into bed, said good night.
The next day, he was found floating in the bay at the bottom of this hotel. He was in the same underwear he had worn to bed, and his key was still inside his room. An autopsy revealed he had no broken bones, suggesting he did not fall.
We thought, oh, maybe there's a chance that he could have sleptwalked or something, but when you look at the layout of the resort, there's nobody is going to sleepwalk around that environment. There's steep rocks and steep steps and everything curving around and going around corners and stuff. So, I mean, that's completely out of the question.
It must have been about 50 feet down to the water, just on a gradient, but it was all rocky. We walked down to see how maybe it could have fallen into the water. But when he got not too far down, there was a massive rock, so he wouldn't have been able to fall any further because the rock would have stopped him.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to us that he would have walked all the way down to the bottom of the resort and slipped and fell into the ocean and drowned. It's like that just wouldn't have happened. There's no way.
The police concluded that Nick drowned and ruled out foul play. But his family thinks he might have been murdered. The night before, he had been warned off chatting to a young Thai woman in this bar. The Pearsons feel the Thai police did not do enough to investigate. They say they didn't look in his hotel room or interview any witnesses. Nick's brother Matt lived in Thailand for 4 years. He says he loves the country, but believes Koh Tao has no rule of law.
When you arrive by boat to Koh Tao, all you can see are these beautiful hills, green trees, blue skies, blue ocean, beautiful sandy beaches, paradise. But it seems like that is all a front, really, for the deeper, dark things that are happening, which we've found out the hard way that the island is obviously run by the mafia.
The Thai police say they did investigate Nick's death and deny any allegations of corruption. But officers are still under scrutiny as more Westerners die on Koh Tao and the Burmese go on trial. Just over 2 weeks after the murders of Hannah Witheridge and David Miller, the Thai police charged 2 Burmese migrants, Zaw Lin and Wei Pio. But there are questions about the conduct of officers, including allegations of torture. The police deny the claims and insist their investigation was carried out properly.
We are not the best police in the world, but we try to do our best. We try to bring the justice to the victim's family.
The pressure on the police is about to increase. Human rights campaigner Andy Hall takes up the case of the Burmese. He puts together a legal team and goes to Koh Tao to investigate. He meets the alleged killers, both in their early 20s.
When I met them, they were in a really bad state, to be honest. They were shackled 24 hours a day. They were kept in a room 24 hours a day on the basis of the fact that they were at risk of either killing themselves or killing other people.
Zaw Lin and Wei Pio tell Andy Hall that they only confessed to the crimes after they had been tortured by the police. 18 days after their arrest, the confessions are withdrawn. To hear a first-hand account of these allegations, we went undercover in Koh Samui District Prison. With only one phone to talk to the men, we are reliant upon the translator to accurately relay their comments. Zaw Lin describes his alleged experience first.
They put on the plastic on his neck and they kick his face and they punch and they kick his chest. Or if you are not going to confess it and we are going to kill you.
And what about Wei Pio?
The police told him to confess and he said, I don't know about it. If you did not confess, we will put you in all the huge tire and we will burn you.
You will be burnt?
Or they will cut off his leg and hand.
Cut off your leg and your hand?
And throw into the sea. If you confess, we will charge you in only 1 year or 2 years.
So you will only get 1 or 2 years in prison if you confess?
Yeah, they've been told by police like that.
It's not true. When they are in our custody, we send them to the hospital to make the record about their physical. There's no bruise, there's no, not even their, even their statement or even asking for any doctor.
So can you tell me 100% that neither Zaw Lin or Wei Pio were tortured?
Yeah, sure.
December 2014. Zaw Lin and Wei Pio are charged with murder and rape. The judge adjourns the case until the summer. As New Year breaks, more suspicious deaths on Koh Tao. Frenchman Dimitri Pobs is found hanged in his bungalow. The police conclude it's suicide, but his hands are tied behind his back, raising doubts about how he could have killed himself. 3 weeks later, British tourist Christina Annesley is found dead in her hotel room. Again, it's on Sairi Beach. Again, the Thai police are criticised. Christina had just started a 4-month trip around Asia.
We were starting to get worried and we were sending her texts and asking her friends if they heard from her. I thought, what do we do now? I came home from work and the police had been waiting for us. As soon as they knocked on the door, Maggie just sort of collapsed hysterically.
Christina's father does not know how or why his daughter died. On the night of her death, she had been taking some medication for a chest infection and had been drinking. But her father is frustrated. He feels the Thai authorities failed to investigate if the combination of medicine and alcohol was sufficient to kill her.
No toxicology report. We can't understand how she could have died. The lack of investigation by the Thai police, the lack of even worrying about following things through, astounds me.
The most glaring issue for her father is that the police did not interview the last man to see his daughter alive. At around 6 a.m., a man was seen on CCTV leaving her room. The police knew his identity, but failed to contact him. So Christina's dad tracked him down himself.
His name was in the Thai police report, so that further astounds me because they managed to identify him. They know he left the island 6 hours after her death. He was due to go, so there's nothing suspicious about that. That was the time he was due to check out. So if they found out his name, his nationality, where he stayed, they would have the address. Why they couldn't contact him, just to eliminate him, or to get some information off him, to me, beggars belief. Now, how we found him was because we had the name. It was a simple affair of going on the internet, typing his name in, he comes up on Facebook, and there you are. And we managed to get a phone number, and I actually rang and spoke to him.
What was it like to pick up the phone to the last person to see your daughter?
A bit emotional. Yeah, because we probably, excuse me, yeah. we would have liked to have been the last people. But on talking to him, he seemed quite straightforward.
The Thai police say they only have limited resources on Koh Tao, which is a long way from the mainland. The string of deaths do nothing for the island's reputation. Koh Tao is struggling to maintain its image as a holiday paradise. But the mayor says many of the tourists who have died are responsible for their own downfall.
ถึงการที่เขาปลดปล่อยเนี่ยอย่างเช่นอย่างประเทศไทยเนี่ยเราไม่ได้มีความตั้งแต่เครื่องไม้เครื่องมือเรายังเป็นโลโก้อยู่นะเขาเข้ามาเขาต้องเรียนรู้วิถีก่อนไม่ใช่เขามาถึงใช้ชีวิตอย่างที่เขาใช้ในเมืองบ้านเขาเมืองเขาซึ่งพอเขาใช้ชีวิตสุดขั้วอย่างเงี้ยคือมันทำให้เกิดอุบัติเหตุและอันตรายง่ายขึ้นแค่นั้นเองคืออย่างเช่นหลายอย่างกินยาเกินขนาดอย่างเงี้ยขับรถมอเตอร์ไซค์เร็วจนเกิดอันตรายอุบัติเหตุอย่างดำน้ำโดยที่ไม่ได้ระวังนะครับแล้วก็คือต้องบอกว่าหลายเป็นมิติของชีวิตทั่วไปแต่ส่วนใหญ่เจอเป็นฝรั่งเมาโดยที่ไม่รู้สึกตัวเมาแล้วก็จำอะไรไม่ได้อย่างเงี้ย
July, Zorlin and Wei Pio stand trial. At the heart of the case is the forensic evidence. The prosecution build their argument around the DNA samples from Hannah's body, which are damning evidence against the Burmese. They claim repeatedly in court that the accused are a 100% match. Andy Hall disagrees.
You cannot say that anything is 100%. You know, DNA doesn't work in that way. It's very complex, and the kind of samples that we're using here, we're talking about multiple contributors. We're talking about Hannah. We're talking about a test, a control. We're talking about We're Pure. We're talking about Solin. We're talking about 4 DNA profiles. within one sample, the speed at which that was analysed and the way in which it was presented as 100% certain defies the logic of forensic standards.
The defence refuses to retest the samples from Hannah's body because they say it was not collected or stored to international standards. This point is reinforced in court by their forensic expert, Dr. Porntip Rajanasunan. She claims the police made a number of errors at the crime scene, including failing to use a forensic doctor.
ตรวจสถานที่เกิดเหตุเนี่ยจะไม่มีความรู้ทางการแพทย์คือคดีนี้มันซับซ้อนมากนะคะเพราะมีการตาย2 คนแล้วเป็นประเด็นเยอะมากเลยค่ะตายด้วยอะไรตายตรงไหนตายพร้อมกันไหมที่เกิดเหตุมีที่อื่นอะไรอีกไหมเนี่ยคือมันจะต้องมีคนที่รู้มากและคนนั้นเนี่ยจะต้องอ่านรายละเอียดจากศพเป็นเพราะนั้นถึงได้บอกต้องเป็นหมอนิติเวช
The defence also argues that the police failed to test a number of items from the crime scene, including blood on the rocks and sand and Hannah's clothes. But the crucial issue, they say, is the murder weapon. Dr. Porntip reveals to the court that she has retested the garden hoe. She says she found DNA from David Miller and another unknown male, who is neither Zor Lin nor Wei Pio.
ค่ะก็จากที่วัตถุพยานที่ส่งมาก็จะมีอยู่ชิ้นเดียวที่ขึ้นใช่ไหมคะก็คือจอบซึ่งในกระบวนการตรวจที่จอบเนี่ยใน DNA ที่ตรวจนะคะก็ทีมตรวจก็ตรวจที่ด้ามแล้วก็ DNA profile ที่ขึ้นเนี่ยก็จะเป็นของมนุษย์2 คนนะคะเป็นผู้ชายเมื่อเอา DNA ของจำเลยเนี่ยมาเทียบมันก็ไม่ตรงค่ะทีนี้ผลตัวนี้นี่เป็นผลการตรวจที่สรุปไปให้เขาว่าเป็นของมนุษย์ผู้ชาย2 คนแต่ไม่ใช่จำเลยทั้ง2นี่คือผลการตรวจ
That's a big problem when the murder weapon, which must be used with such force, gripped so hard, actually doesn't have the DNA of the accused on it when they're being tried on a capital murder case that could lead to their execution. There needs to be more.
The defence feels this is a breakthrough. But the police insist the forensic evidence is up to scratch.
I have no idea why people doesn't believe in that evidence. We did it in the laboratory. We did it with the specialist. The equipment that they use is come from European standards, things like that, comply with ISO, something I cannot remember.
When questioned by us in prison, Zor Lin and Wei Pio cannot explain why their DNA could have been found on Hannah Witheridge.
This is impossible. We are not.
Impossible. Impossible.
Yeah, impossible. 89.
And Zunin as well?
I don't know because I'm not committed that crime.
You didn't commit that crime.
Even they found out DNA or not related to us, I don't know. I don't know at all. They didn't see David.
They never saw them. Yes or no? Did you kill Hannah Witheridge and David Miller?
89.
The court adjourns after 3 months of evidence. David Miller's family, including parents and brother Michael, return home after attending almost every day. The prosecution asked for the death penalty. There is no jury. The fate of Zor Lin and Wei Pio rests with 3 judges. Koh Samui District Court, Christmas Eve, 2015. The mothers of the accused, Pu Shui Niu and Do Mei Tan, are about to enter court. Their sons are accused of murdering and raping Hannah Witheridge and murdering David Miller. The prosecution has asked for the death penalty. One hour later, a guilty verdict and the death penalty. The judges are persuaded by the prosecution that the Burmese match the DNA found on Hannah's body. The allegations of torture, doubts about the murder weapon, and questions about the forensic evidence are dismissed. While the Burmese families are distraught, David Miller's family, who attended almost the entire trial, welcome the verdict.
We believe that, after a difficult start, the Royal Thai Police conducted a methodical and thorough investigation. Having listened carefully to all the evidence, and despite what their lawyers say, it is our opinion that the evidence against Weipo and Zaw Lin is absolutely overwhelming. They raped to satisfy their selfish desires and murdered to cover up that fact. They have shown no remorse during the trial.
An appeal is planned, but Zaw Lin and Weipo head to death row.
We are anonymous.
The battle over their conviction moves from the courtroom to the computer screen.
It has come to our attention that a Thai court in Thailand has recently sentenced 2 Burmese migrants to be executed.
The online activist group Anonymous champions their cause. They hack and crash the Thai police website and then release a controversial video accusing the police of framing Zaw Lin and Weipo.
Thai police have accused innocent people before, and would rather blame foreigners or migrants for such crimes so as to protect their tourism industry.
The film received support from an unlikely source. The sister of Hannah Witheridge, Laura Witheridge, writes a furious message on Facebook, attacking Thailand and endorsing the video.
Many Thais hate Westerners, and they have little to no regard for human life.
The trial stirs uncomfortable memories for some families. They warn parents should stop their children even thinking of going to Koh Tao.
I'd tell them to do anything in their power to stop them going. It's dangerous. In view of what's happened to David Miller and Hannah Witheridge and various other people that I've read about, it just all leads to the same thing. And their parents must be going through hell, just like we are, and we have been for the last almost 2 years. Doesn't ever go away.
I've got no desire to go there at all. The only desire I'd have would be to go and see the last place her daughter was in, and then I'd never want to go back there again.
Koh Tao, January 2016. 2 weeks after the conviction of Zaw Lin and Wei Pio, the police are called to a bar on Sairi Beach. A 26-year-old British man is found dead. The Thai police say Luke Miller died after jumping into a swimming pool and banging his head. His family expresses concerns about the investigation. Luke Miller is the 6th Westerner in just over 2 years to die in suspicious circumstances on Koh Tao.
Nine o'clock tomorrow night, one for the road, proper combat conditions, the final test to make it as a soldier, British Army girls. Next tonight, the islands with Bear Grylls.